Kami has a brand new translation tool, and we're going to break down those language barriers. So, in this notebook, there are different sections that teachers can review. This is for a coach giving professional learning. So, first, it starts off with a think, pair, share. And you have your teachers or educators consider what are some of the biggest challenges that they face when communicating with people who speak a different language. Okay, so it doesn't have to be their students, it can be just anybody in general. And they're going to think, what are some of those biggest challenges? Sometimes for me, it's feeling that uncomfortable. They're going to talk with a partner and then we're going to share out loud. And when we share, I'm going to be taking down notes with what everybody kind of says. Then we're going to dive into the new translation tool. And so we're going to explain how this kind of works and how it can support students and teachers. And then they're going to give it a go where they're actually going to practice. And so right here is the reading tool. And we're going to be able to translate the text by highlighting. Students or teachers will be able to change the language. And once it changes, you'll be able to see that Spanish or whatever language you choose right there. You are going to be able to listen to it. You can copy the paste over to the side. You can also copy the paste by this other icon, which has this like 2 pages, and that will copy it. And if I grab my text box, I can paste it here or on another page. Students can also, using that reading feature, there's this magic wand where they can kind of take like a screenshot and it will translate that text. So if they have a bigger section, that might be the option that they want. And again, the 3 options are right here. Then it's time to talk about different strategies. And so here are a bunch of different strategies that you can use to support EL students. There is a way for you to kind of add prior knowledge to your students by a quick thumbs up and thumbs down. This is a resource from the Kami library where your students can come in and they can either take a picture of themselves or use the sticker tool, and they can go back and forth on whether they agree or disagree. So again, you can ask them different concepts that will be presented in the upcoming content, and based on their knowledge, they're either going to agree or disagree. Another great one is this DRT, so direct reading and thinking. And this chart can be really, really helpful when students are reviewing these areas. And so, for example, when you are asking these 3 steps, you can first have your students direct. This is where your students are going to scan the text. They're looking for pictures, titles, etc. And the teacher is maybe asking a question. What do you think the passage is about? So again, I can add that question right onto this chart right here. And I can just kind of say, okay, direct. What do you think this passage is going to be about? I'm going to give you some time to scan the article, scan the passage, think about what that passage is going to be about. Then we can go into the reading, where students are actually going to read the text. And then as they're reading, the teacher's going to ask questions to see if their predictions maybe change. So again, they're kind of making a prediction here. They're kind of thinking about what is it that I think the text is going to be about. Where now, again, I'm going to ask them, do you need to refine your prediction? Okay, so students can decide if they need to redefine their prediction based on the information that we just went over. After that, thinking is the last part of this 3-step process. So students are going to go back to the text and they're going to find evidence that supports for their prediction. So based on what we just read, can I support the text with that prediction? So they're going to add that in. So again, that's 3 ways to help students with higher order thinking when they are comprehending a new text for them. There's also a learning log where students can record their process of what they're learning about. And this can be a great way where students can reflect, what did I learn? How did I learn it? I need to work on what challenges were faced. So again, there's a bunch of different questions for students to reflect on their learning to help them in their journaling, their writing short reflections, summary, maybe even sketches. And by allowing your students this time, it's going to help you and your students see where they're at in their understanding of the concept. Sentence frames can be another great way. And you can add your sentence frames into the annotation bank, where you can constantly share different sentence frames with your students to help support them in their learning. There's also a ton of graphic organizers in the Kami library, and graphic organizers can be a great way for your EL students when they're learning new vocabularies, when they're learning new concepts, making connections. These can really help them understand new concepts in a better way. And then we're going to reflect. They're going to identify one new strategy or idea from the session that you just gave and give an example of how they might use it. Then there's a place for them to take notes. So I can't wait to see your teachers really reflect on EL learning and how Kami Translate can support.